Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome along to another episode from LandPowerTV. Now, the keen-eyed amongst you may have noticed in one of our review episodes of the Kubota M6 utility tractor that we were using a Kverneland feeder bedder machine, which was kindly borrowed from Kverneland themselves for us to use and try out while we were doing the tractor review itself. So, to tell us all about the KV bedder machine that we had on the back of the Kubota, we've got Mr. Dave Perry once again from the Kverneland group in the UK. Some of you may remember Dave from the Rock merger video that we did, and the Silo King self-propelled diet feeder video as well. He gets about, put it that way, and he's loving it. You love these videos, don't you?
Absolutely.
So the model we've got, if you have a look over his shoulder, it is the 863.
Yeah.
So in terms of models that you guys have, what have you got in the range?
So this is the smallest trail machine, the 3-cube machine. So we've got, in the model range, we've got a 2-cube machine which is mounted, a 3, a 4 and a 6. But basically the numbering system, 800 is the bale shredder, bale chopper designation.
Yeah.
6 is the generation, so we're on 6th generation machine. Right. And then 3 is the designation for the size of the machine, approximately. Right. So yes, this is about a 3-cube machine.
So this is the baby one that you've got?
This is the baby trailed, yes.
The baby trail. So in the trail range, what others have you got as well?
So we've also got the 864. So that's 4.2 cube, and then we've also got a 6-cube machine as well, which goes to a twin beta drum. Right.
And those bigger trail machines, presumably, are they a bit longer as well? You can get a couple of bales in there in terms of round bales, or how do they work?
So the 4-cube is basically the same width of chamber, but slightly longer.
Yeah.
The 6-cube is taller, a little bit wider, and longer as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
A little bit more all around.
Just more capacity, more for feeding bigger volumes of silage.
That's it, being able to keep going if you've got lots of stock to get through. So this model that we've got, this 863, is there various specs of this as well?
Yes, there is. So at the moment here we've got the standard 863, and then we've also got an 863 Pro available as well. Right. So when we go to a Pro machine, we go to having a belt clutch so we can disengage the intake rotor, and also a hydraulic top comb as well.
So your belt clutch, that's for the rotor, is it that?
Yes.
So you can independently set that off to the PT. So you can set your PT off first, basically.
Yeah. Get your flywheel running.
Yeah.
And then bring your intake rotor and then bring your floor in.
And what's the sort of uptake on that? I mean, why would we want it for a start off, basically?
It's just if you've got the machines full of clamp material, it stops the material running in. Yeah. And then also as well, different operators have got them on competitors' machines as well. So they may use them for if you want to stop to go past a water trough or to go past a steel in a shed. You can turn the rotor off, turn the bed off, drive past the obstruction or where you don't want to get any straw, and then carry on again, start it, re-engage it again, while keeping everything running. So you're not trying to shut the machine totally down. Yeah. While you're moving past, you can just intermittently pause it and carry on.
Okay, I see. So a bit more flexibility, you might say. Right. So the machine we've got, like I say, it's that 863. So yeah, as ever, Dave, just talk us through it, front to back. What have we got?
So we've got a few years ago now with the 853, which was the predecessor to this, we lengthened the drawbar because tractors have got bigger. Yeah. So it gives us more gap in here when the tractors turn. Obviously tyres come in here, so we've got a longer drawbar. It makes it easier to reverse the machine up the sheds, and also it gives us more clearance with larger tyres, wide tyres here as well for turning. Always on a standard pick-a-pitch arrangement down there. Yeah. And also integrated with the parking foot there. There is an option to put a parking jack on here, on a screw jack if you're constantly using it on a drawbar machine. Yeah. But we tend to spec as standard just with the skid shoe. And then we've got height adjustment on the drawbar there. So we always want to be trying to run the bed chains level. So that if we've got a round bale, it's always sitting in the chamber and sort of moving towards the rotor or coming back with the floor, not rolling away from you or rolling towards you all the time. Yeah. So we've got height adjustment there, just quite simple arrangement, pivot bolt at the bottom, and then you remove those top bolts, and then you raise or lower the machine to fit the bolt in the other hole.
So you've got an option of 3 up there, aren't you?
Yeah, 3 holes, dead straightforward, dead simple. Also starting from the front as well, So we've got wide angle PTO shaft fitted as standard. We don't give them the option. It's just part of the package. It's deemed when you're using them around tight sheds and yards that the majority of people want that spec. So
that's it.
We try and keep it as a standard. Yeah.
Really?
Moving through up, we've got overrun and slip clutch on the back of the PTO shaft in there. Going into a 2-speed gearbox, 2-speed coma gearbox.
So your slip clutch, that would be your main protection.
Protection, yeah. You've got belts here to protect your intake rotor, and the slip clutch protects the flywheel on the flywheel blockage.
Yeah.
But it goes into, it's 120 horsepower gearbox, and basically it's split 80-40, so 80 horsepower goes into the flywheel, 40 comes out for the rotor, for the intake drum.
Right. And speaking of horsepower, what sort of your minimum sort of horsepower you could get away with on a machine like this?
Minimum if you're on straw would be sort of 50-ish.
Yeah.
Don't need much at all. If you're going to start feeding silage, 60, 70 is a bit better.
Yeah.
You just need a little bit more in reserve just in case you get to absorb the lumps and bumps going through the machine. But moving up the front of the machine, under the cover here, we've got the hydraulic valve block, and because we're all on electro-hydraulic controls, and then we've got the shaft coming out to the belt drive here. 2-speed handle here, so we can go quite easily from low speed to high speed.
Yep.
So one of the main differences between this and its predecessor, the 853, we've deepened the flywheel by about 60 millimeters. So it gives us more ability to clear more material more quickly.
More carrying capacity.
So we can process bales more quickly.
You get more draft with that as well.
Yeah, we do get a little bit more blow as well. So the more material we can put together and the more straw we can push out, the bigger distances generally on blow you get. So
yeah,
but then that goes up. And then flywheel housing wise, we've got access into the chute here. Normally with a straw blower, there's 2 types of blockage. There's a chute blockage and there's a flywheel blockage. So that's there to access for your chute blockage, to remove it. And then also over there, you'll see a nice big access panel into the front of the flywheel housing there. So that's there.
So there's a whole panel on that.
There's a whole panel on that front side there. So on the flywheel, there's notches that we can see from in the back of the chamber. So if you do happen to block something, you can just bar it back and bar the flywheel back to release it.
Right.
Clear it all out, panel back on, and job's good. But also as well, we're on bolted paddles on the flywheel. So if we get something goes through for some reason, a block or a lump of rock or something like that bends a paddle, or tine or whatever, we can actually take the paddles off through that hole. So we can have one out and back in again in sort of 20 minutes. We're on a 6-paddle flywheel. We run a mix of long and short paddles, which tends to give